when the results came in. It turned out that half of me was fat. It was like I was carrying around a dead body on me. The X-ray scan showing how my body looked inside was absolutely horrible. And if you're struggling with extra fat, you too can make a pretty accurate idea of your situations as well. There was so much fat inside of me that my internal organs literally started shifting. My heart was practically wrapped in visceral fat. And so were my liver, my spleen, and my lungs. And even though I was in my mid-40s when I took the breathing test, the experts told me I was breathing like an 85-year-old. Fat was literally choking up my body from the inside. The doctors warned me that if I didn't do something, I would soon become tied to a wheelchair for the rest of my life and then die. Imagine that. I didn't tell Doris anything. I didn't want to scare her. You see, my poor wife's situation was even worse. On her way home from the grocery store, she passes by this gym, and a lot of ripped men and women look at her with pity and disgust. "Go to fat camp, you ugly fat woman," someone yelled at my wife, and then literally spat in her face. People are that evil, and they always judge you by your looks. One evening, I caught my poor Doris crying as she was struggling to put on a nice dress she got as a present from our kids. But try as she might, the dress didn't fit her. It was bursting at the seams and clumps of fat were bulging everywhere. "Look, this is me now. I can't hide this anymore. How can you still love me? I wish I could just die already." I felt her pain, but I tried to hide mine. I gave her a gentle kiss and tried to cheer her up somehow. So I took out our old family photo albums and started reminiscing about the good old days. Our wedding, the birth of our kids, and all that. Then, with tears in her eyes, my wife asked me, "Dear, how did we get so fat? What did we do wrong?" It was a very good question. Looking at the pictures, the evidence was undeniable. As years passed by, we both got fatter and fatter. But why? That night I couldn't sleep at all. My mind was racing fast and asking a million questions. What was the thing that made us fat? Was there any real way to undo this? And if yes, how? What's puzzled me most is that year after year, we tried to do exactly what all the fitness gurus and experts recommended. Exercise, keep food journals, follow the latest diet, try the best Amazon supplements and powders. Yet more and more fat was coiling like a snake in our bellies, thighs, back, hips, arms, everywhere. So if we literally tried every trick in the book, and then some to lose weight, then why didn't we? According to a revealing study coming from the Harvard School of Public Health, the cases of accelerated weight gain have doubled over the last 25 years. Yet, the human body hasn't changed in the last 25 years, right? So what caused such a drastic upsurge of weight gain? There had to be something else. And boy, I was in for a big surprise. As I stumbled upon some old images of us at the beach in the 70s, both of us were looking prime. Our skin was firm, our muscles were toned, I didn't have fat belly, and Doris was looking absolutely gorgeous. Yet I can tell you one thing for sure. Back then, neither I nor my wife were doing much exercising, and we ate all the wrong foods. So how come we were not fat at all? Try as I might, I couldn't figure it out. Yet as I kept watching, I noticed something else truly incredible. Nobody, not a single person was fat. It was like I was looking at an alien race where everybody was slim and fit no matter their age. Right then and there, my investigative gut told me I was onto something big, something huge. So for the next few weeks, I dedicated my time and resources to solve this mind-bending puzzle. But almost every explanation I could think of turned out to be untrue. Yet, the astonishing answer, which finally allowed me, my wife, my family, and thousands of other people just like you to finally get rid of all of our unwanted fat and regain our normal weight, came after I asked one seemingly stupid question. What was the diet of the 1970s when almost everybody was slim and fit? They were eating white bread and jam, ice cream and Oreos. They were not eating quinoa or kale. They were not counting calories. And they did not have fancy weight loss apps and trackers. As a matter of fact, they were not even really exercising much. These people were doing everything wrong. Yet there was no obesity. Why? Was it because they were eating less back then than we do today? Well, as a matter of fact, no. In fact, people were eating more in the 70s, but there's a huge, huge catch. After crunching dozens of national studies and government databases, I've discovered one crucial truth. Despite eating more, people back then were also eating differently. A nationwide study coming from the US Department of Agriculture revealed something really bizarre regarding our modern eating habits. Now, we eat more chicken and less beef than we used to. Also, we consume on average 36 pounds of cooking oils every year. That's more than 3 times as much as we did in the early 70s. We're also eating a lot more cheese, 21.9 pounds a year. That's nearly 3 times the average annual consumption in 1970. We buy half the total potatoes, but 3 times more chips. We eat less sugar, but a lot more corn-derived sweeteners. More chicken, more cheese, more chips, and more artificial sweeteners. At first, I couldn't make any sense of this. Naturally, I asked myself, what made us change our eating habits? Is it because we're hungrier? Is it because we love chicken and cheese more than beef now? Or is it something more nefarious going on? Well, I hate to be the bringer of bad news, but the answer will scare you and make your blood boil with anger. You see, the shift in our eating habits has not happened by accident. Not at all. In fact, Dr. David Kessler, former head of the FDA, recently admitted this on CBS News. This was deliberately designed by big food companies. You see, there's one simple truth nobody is telling you. Food companies have a different objective than you do. They want you to buy a lot of their food, even if it's bad for you, even if it makes you gain weight, even if it makes your life miserable. That's why every year they pour $3.5 billion into research to come up with new ways to sell you tasty, quick, and above all, addictive food. Food that will make you eat more, as when Lay's bragged about the weekly addictive quality of its potato chips, advertising, "Bet you can't eat just one." That's why now we have a constant battle with the desire to overeat, because of the food designed to trick our brains. We've switched from eating because we're hungry to eat because our appetite is constantly aroused. This is called hyper-eating. Just put your hand on your stomach right now. If all you feel is just fat that you'd like to go away, then you've been taken for a fool by big food companies. But how? How did the food companies trick us to eat more? After weeks of research and talks with top nutritionists, and even off-the-record interviews with insiders and whistleblowers from the big food industry, here's the ugly truth. Chicken nuggets. We eat more than double than we did in the 70s. But why? Is it just because chicken is magically delicious? Well, not really. Let's see how they trick you into eating more chicken. First, the factory deep fries the chicken and freezes it, so the fat is loaded into the chicken meat. The restaurant fries them again, which doubles or even triples the loaded fat. Then, you serve the chicken with a sweet and salty dipping sauce. In the end, the chicken pieces are both loaded and layered with sugar on salt, on fat, on fat. Delicious? Yes, says your brain, which gets addicted to not one, but 3 dangerous and highly addictive ingredients: sugar, salt, and fat. How about potato chips? The core ingredient of the potatoes is carbohydrates, which is a fancy name for a bunch of addictive sugars joined in a chain. Cut into chips and deep fry them, now you have fat loaded into them. Add some cheese, sprinkle lots of salt, and there you have it. Addictive salt on fat, on fat, on sugar, which again tricks your brain into non-stop eating. The manufacturer profits from your addiction, while you get stuck with cramps, bloating, and lack of energy that makes your life miserable, which it shouldn't be. The same goes with cheese, which now contains even more addictive salt, sugar, and fat than in the 70s. But let's say you don't eat cheese, you don't like chips, and you don't eat chicken. You'd think you'd be in